19th November 2025, SEBI has just created a whole new category of AIFs specifically for accredited investors. And what this means for you is lesser compliance, faster operations, and much more flexibility. If you are a fund manager managing a set of sophisticated investors and investing in India, the rules have just changed in your favor. This is by far the most significant regulatory change of 2025, and let's dive right in. Hi everyone, I'm Parth from Navigate AIF, and we are a legal tech company on a mission to make complex SEBI regulations into actionable insights. And in this video, I am joined by a very special guest, Ms. Rohini Nair, a partner at A&B Legal, which is a full-service international law firm. And Ms. Nair here focuses onshore, offshore fund structuring advisory, corporate restructuring, M&A, PEVC. Welcome to the channel, Rohini.
Thank you, Parth.
Let's dive into what this change means. To give some background, we have seen an amendment to the AIF regulations on 19th November 2025, where SEBI has created a whole new scheme called AI only funds and also introduced relaxations for large value funds. Second, we have a massive circular that came from SEBI on 8th December 2025, which has given the modalities of the change. So, to give background and start with the most preliminary question on this, what are accredited investors and how can one become accredited?
Good question, Parth. I think before we deep dive into what is accredited investor concept, it's very important for us to understand as to why did this AI concept come, was introduced by SEBI, right? Until about 2021, India's AIF regime treated all investors at the same level. Whether you invested a check size of 1 crore or 100 crore, the regulatory framework barely distinguished them based on the layer of sophistication. Now, what is the problem statement here? It's important for us to understand. One is the sophisticated investors, they were not very comfortable because they wanted flexibility in terms of bespoke terms and not really stick to the terms that are available for all the investors under a particular fund. Second is concentrated strategies were
Right.
absolutely not permissible,
Hmm.
right? Third is the global LPs found it very difficult to sort of align themselves to the Indian framework.
Correct.
Now, in order to sort of attract global investors to invest in Indian AIFs, SEBI introduced the concept of accredited investor in February 2021 by virtue of a consultation paper. Subsequently, in August 2021, the AI concept was actually streamlined, where it actually set out as to who can be an accredited investor, what qualifies. So there are certain income and net worth criteria, and I'm sure you know it better, which are to be met, and an investor is expected to obtain a certification from some of the SEBI recognized accredited
Accreditation
agencies.
agencies. Correct, correct.
I'm sure you know it better because you help facilitate investors to
Yes.
get that.
And what we've also seen is that till June of 2025, across India, there were only 649 accredited investors.
Hmm.
And we have seen a massive push from SEBI since then. To give some background into what the criteria is to become accredited, for an individual, it is that you should have either an annual income of 2 crore rupees or a net worth of 7.5 crore rupees, out of which at least half should be in the form of financial assets. Or you can have a hybrid where you can have an annual income of 1 crore and a net worth of 5 crore, out of which at least 2.5 crores is financial assets. For body corporates and trusts, it is that you should have a net worth of 50 crores. And the requirement is same for offshore as well as onshore investors. So if you are a dollar investor, you have to look at this requirement in dollar terms. The next thing is that in this whole year, we have really seen SEBI push the accreditation of investors. Can you give us some background about that?
So I think this year has been a milestone year because where SEBI has rolled out multiple circulars harping on accredited investors and a lot of flexibilities that are made available to an accredited investor, not just in AIF regulations, but other regulations by like the PMS and the IA regulations as well.
Right.
Now, to to talk a bit more about the AIF regulatory framework, If you see, now we have the angel funds. In September 2025, we had the angel regulatory framework which completely got revamped, and now it is absolutely revolving around accredited investors,
Absolutely.
right?
And in fact, what I have also seen is since the September circular came out, all angel funds have just been pushing to get investors accredited. Their entire business has changed.
Absolutely. And I've got multiple calls from our clients to say, how to achieve this and
Hmm.
how is it to be done. Because even not just in terms of accredited investors, but also the way it is functioning has also completely changed.
Very
In
true.
fact, we're one of the very few firms to have filed an application with SEBI for an AIF angel
Oh,
fund
and
registration.
this is an incredibly brave fund manager who decided to become one of the first ones who did this.
Yeah.
So
It was a
that
conscious call taken. So, in fact, when the regulations came in, to be honest, but I was actually quite curious to know who will actually file under
correct,
this, latest framework. But I think we've had fund managers who've taken a conscious call because there are certain HNI family offices that they want to bring under an umbrella of an AI framework.
correct.
And I think by far, the angel fund new framework does provide some kind of flexibility provided you are an accredited investor.
Correct. I think the main to give some more color and background to the viewers of this video about what the changes have been for angel funds, a very significant change was that every angel fund in India could now only raise from accredited investor. The definition itself of an angel investor under the regulation has changed to becoming somebody who's an accredited investor. However, angel funds have been given a 1 year glide path in which 1 year time they can only onboard up to 200 non-accredited investors, and after that it has to only be accredited investors. So offering opportunities to only accredited investors has really impacted many angel funds whose investor base itself has gone down, and that is a key change. There was one more key change
The
in September.
CIB, the
Yes,
co-investment scheme. How can we miss that?
absolutely.
I think it was quite a good change because now you don't have to take a CPMS license. Fund managers could just roll out a different scheme.
And
Uh,
massive cost saving. I mean, 15
Absolutely.
lakhs for a CPMS license versus 1 lakh for a
Absolutely,
CIB
absolutely.
scheme.
In fact, we managed to make a couple of applications under the CIV
It's
regulation
incredible.
as well. And I think it's absolutely streamlined. There's a lot of flexibility.
Hmm.
You don't have to have the entire PPM format. It's great, I believe.
And I think a very big thing now that is happening is that today in India, if I'm sitting and I'm an accredited investor, there is a really a bouquet of products that are only for me, right? So we have seen that in angel funds, only for accredited investors, co-investment schemes, only for accredited investors. Then we have large value PMS. There is a option under the investment advisory regulations that you can structure your fees differently. So each and every regulation is now becoming providing some products for accredited investors only, and with that context, I move on to the next question. The key point of this video is SEBI's new product in this circular that has come in. That is AI only funds. Unfortunately, not artificial intelligence only funds, but accredited investor only funds that SEBI has launched. So, what are these? And what I wanted to also tell is if I'm a fund manager, an existing fund manager, how should I look at this? Should I consider transitioning to this? What should be the points on which I should base my decision?
Sure. So I think after a series of circular that SEBI rolled out this year, I think the very next logical step would have been, coming up with an accredited investor only fund.
Correct.
Now that is basically creating a multi-layered structure to say, fair enough. Now you have different kind of AI only funds, AI focused funds, the
Right.
angel funds, the co-investment schemes, the LVFs, and the AI only schemes.
Correct.
Now these are only for accredited investors. So if I have a fund manager who comes to me and says that he has a certain investor who's asking for certain different kind of terms, some superior rights, entitlements, then the only thing that I would probably recommend to him would be to probably roll out an AI only scheme and
Correct.
be able to accommodate the request an investor places.
I think how you could even do that is that you can see the SFA standards. These are the standard setting forum.
Yeah.
So there was a circular on 13 December 2025, I think 24,
Right.
that came in. 13
Yes.
December 24, which released a detailed list of what pro rata and pari passu, what pro rata rights you could offer
Absolutely.
investors. And thereafter, SFA came up with a list of 10 items. I think as on date, it is 10 items. As on date of recording this video, we are hoping they add some more names to that.
Yes.
And if you're offering something outside of those 10, you should consider AI only funds then.
Absolutely. And in fact, there are a series of exemptions that the circular sets out. But I'm hoping that SEBI does rethink and probably align the exemptions for the AI only schemes with the LVFs.
Hmm.
Today, as it stands, there are certain additional exemptions, relaxations that LVFs have and not the AI only funds.
So let's go into the details of this.
Yes,
You tell
sure.
me what are the benefits for AI only funds?
Yeah.
Let's start with that, and then we talk about how do we transition.
Perfect. Okay. So the first thing is that the minimum commitment from an investor 1 crore is not applicable to an AI only fund.
Wow.
So you
Okay.
could probably put in a smaller check. But I'm not sure how is it really helpful because if it's an AI only investor, the expectation is that you're going to be putting a larger check.
The rich get more discounts, right?
Yeah, that
Yes.
is true. The second is the NIS certification is no longer required. It's an
Yes.
exemption.
That really impacts me because I've trained more than 170 managers on the NIS
Wow,
exams, so
that's
I don't
great.
get to train
I
more
think some
folks.
of my fund managers did get
Yes,
trained by
yes.
you. Now, unlike the existing AIFs, which are capped at 1,000 investors, that cap of 1,000 investors is no longer applicable to AI only fund, which is a great thing.
Right.
And of course, the tenure
I want
extension.
to clarify one thing
What
on
is it?
this cap. So I
Huh?
think what they're saying is in a fund, and actually this was super because the AIF regulations itself have been amended. Even if you are a non AI only fund,
Yeah.
a traditional Cat 2 fund, then your investor count of
Mm.
1,000, in that you have to exempt all the accredited investors.
Yeah.
So you can have up to 1,000 non-accredited investors and any number of accredited investor.
Correct.
So actually the base for every fund has increased by this, and it is incentivizing each and every fund which wants to raise, and it has a massive retail base. They can make their they can make as many of their investors accredited and hence remove from the 1,000 non-accredited count, thereby increasing the investor base. So now tell me one thing.
Hmm.
Say I am a current AIF and I transition to AI only funds
Yes.
and I've taken the 5-year extension.
Hmm.
Can I still take a dissolution period after that if I'm not able to liquidate my fund?
Absolutely. So dissolution period is over and above the extension that you seek. Extension of tenure is something which is anyway available under regulatory framework.
Correct.
Dissolution is after your fund life,
Correct.
including the extension.
Got
But
it.
just to let you know that if at all you are an existing AIF scheme and you have already taken an extension of 2 years and then you migrate into an AI only fund, the idea is to be able to compute that 5 years. The extension that you've already taken in your existing AIF will be taken into consideration.
Of
So it
course.
can't be a 2 plus 5.
Very
If
true.
you've already taken two, then you only have a 3 year extension period. That's something
Perfect.
that one has to be mindful of.
I think that even many funds which are probably nearing their close could consider transitioning into AI only funds to get that 5-year extension,
Right.
perhaps.
Right. But then the only thing will be the fund manager has to ensure that all their investors are are
Are
accredited
accredited.
investor.
Yes,
That's something that they'll have to ensure. And I think you're good to go there.
absolutely.
Apart from this, I think the very important exemption, which I think we all would like to have, and we're all waiting for it, was that the requirement for maintaining a pro rata entitlement amongst the investors, which means that now I could actually give a particular investor some superior rights over the others.
Correct.
But this is only available in an AI only fund.
Correct. And I think by virtue of this exemption from pro rata rights and pari passu rule applying to AI only funds, this is also provided to LVFs now.
Yes.
So both LVFs and pro rate and AI only funds can now give this, and that is massive.
Mm.
One more thing I want to touch upon, which was a question that many funds, as you mentioned to me earlier, would ask. Um, what about the status of an accredited investor if you onboard them and they lose the accreditation status? That was a key gray area
Right.
earlier.
So I think with that, this particular circular which has come out, SEBI has made it absolutely clear that at the time that you onboard an accredited investor in an AI only fund, the status is important. The accreditation should be there. But subsequently, if the investor loses that status, it's absolutely fine.
Right.
They could lose it. That
Right.
flexible. So during the tenure of the scheme, what the status of the investor is not relevant.
How do I transition into becoming an AI only fund? Can I even transition?
Sure. So the recent circular makes it very clear that yes, existing schemes can migrate into an AI only scheme. A couple of things that SEBI has mandated. One, of course, is that you need a consent from all your investors.
Right.
Second, very important thing is your name of the scheme needs to have AI only fund.
Yes, I thought this was a very bad change because Sebi, the problem with changing the name
Hmm.
is that for existing funds especially,
Huh.
this would result in massive changes for you. I mean, you would have to change your trust deed, your investment management agreement, your contribution
Yes.
agreements, your PPM, of course, would have to be changed. Plus, as an existing fund, I may already have made investments in my old name.
Yes.
By changing the name, I may have to see which all agreements of mine I have to now again amend, who all have
Yes.
to intimate. It's so much hassle.
Yes. From an
So,
administrative standpoint, I understand. But I think it's also because probably if a particular fund has multiple schemes and there are certain schemes only for AI, then the idea is that they want it to be distinguished from the other schemes. But you're absolutely right. It is a lot of a hassle because you have to, amend all your documents. That's absolutely
very
right.
fair. I think SEBI can consider making this only for new schemes that are launched
Hmm.
instead of making it for the existing one, just due to the serious administrative burden that will be there.
Right.
What are the other process points for me?
Yes, so circular mandates that you're supposed to report to SEBI within 15 days from the
Hmm.
date that you convert. Two is that you need to report to the depository within 15 days of the conversion.
Right. So
And with that,
it's very simple. I think
absolutely.
we would need to amend our PPM though, right?
We will have to. We will
Yes.
have to amend all our documents and including the PPM.
Let's move on to the next key topic here about large value funds, LVFs. So, what exactly are large value funds, and how do you think the recent regulatory changes impact large value funds?
It is in the year 2021 that SEBI introduced the concept of LVFs, large value funds. The schemes where every investor was expected to make a minimum commitment of 70 crore. Now, according to me, this was India's first explicit recognition that ultra large capital deserves ultra flexible regulations, and
That's
that
such
is
a
how.
nice way to put it. Yes.
Yes.
Correct.
And I think SEBI did come out with a lot of relaxations under the regulations, which enabled highly concentrated strategies. So the concentration limits which are stipulated under the regulations were not applicable.
Yes, so importantly, what they've done is they've just doubled the concentration limit.
Yes.
So, as a category 1 or 2 AIF, you have a limit of 25% that you can put of your investable funds in each investment. Whereas for an LVF, a large value fund, that limit is 50%.
Yes.
For a category 3, it is 10% in an investment. And for a category 3 large value fund, it is 20%. So, your concentration limits simply double.
Correct.
That's a key benefit.
Absolutely. And the second part is bespoke governance rights that you could offer to your investors.
Absolutely.
Third is you could always have a very globally aligned structures built in your fund,
Correct.
by which you could attract global investors to invest into your LBFs.
Correct.
Now, having said all of this,
I want to add one point
Haji.
about the bespoke governance structure that you mentioned.
Yes.
I think this you're talking about the fact that an investment committee member in
Yes,
an LVF is
yes.
exempt from the AF regulations.
Yes.
And this is super helpful because as an LVF, a lot of times what would happen is the investors themselves are putting in such a large check size because under the erstwhile AF regulations, an LVF would have to have a minimum commitment of 70 crore per investor. And typically, what would happen is the investors putting in that kind of money would want a seat in the investment committee.
Yes.
And they want a seat, but they don't want the regulatory sort of strings attached
Huh.
to it. So they want the seat without having the strings attached, and that was an exemption given under the Australian regulations as well, continued under this framework. And the key change here is really the reduction in the minimum commitment amount.
The recent circular by SEBI, it has brought down the investor commitment, minimum commitment to 25 crore
I think
from
that
a
is
70
super
crore.
helpful because you were telling me earlier, right? Like till
June
in this till
2025.
June 2025, there are only 62 LVFs in India.
Yes. Yes.
And do you think this will increase the number?
Absolutely. I think by bringing down the minimum investor commitment, I think they're opening doors for more and more AI to investors to have come into LBFs and participate. I think that's a great move.
Absolutely.
Apart from this, I think there are a couple of other relaxations from an administrative and a compliance standpoint. One, of course, is they are exempted from following the standard PPM template.
Correct.
Right, and they're also exempted from the requirement of an annual audit, which
Correct.
is quite a hassle
So
for
what I
funds.
thought about that change when I read it was
Huh.
that it used to exist for them always,
Hmm.
but it wasn't clear because what
Huh.
SEBI did is SEBI wrote in the master circular that AIs where every investor commits above 70 crore have these exemptions.
Yes.
Now they've added to simply clarify further that LVFs especially other since the limit has gone down from
Yes.
70 crore to 25.
Yes. Another key change that SEBI has stipulated for LVFs is that these schemes, LVF schemes, will be exempted from maintaining the pari passu rights for their investors, which technically means superior rights, flexible terms for investors.
Absolutely. I think that was a great move by SEBI. Now, for AI only funds, both LVFs and other funds that are AI only, both of them, the pro rata principle and following pari passu rights for all investors has been removed. And we can now have LVFs also with bespoke fund structures. That is where you can really, play along with what you do, your craft so well, and set up unique fund structures for investors. I think that flexibility has been given. Another key point was what is the change for trustees under this regulatory amendment that has come in?
So the regulations have been amended to reflect that the roles and responsibilities of a trustee in an AI only scheme stroke fund has been now delegated to the investment manager. Now the
Correct.
IM has to play that role
Mm,
and IM has to fulfill the obligation of the trustee.
right. Correct. Very interesting. And I think that will have massive ramifications for the industry. Trustees are one of the key players in the market. So
Yes.
that is absolutely there. So what do you think is the way forward from here now? Now that these changes have come in and we have a whole new category of AIFs,
Hmm.
what is the way forward and what is going to be the impact of these changes?
I think with this recent circular of 8 December 2025, SEBI has now uh, seeded the thought that accredited investor as a concept is going to be coming in very soon across all categories of AIF.
Absolutely. I think SEBI has gone so far as to mention it in multiple consultation papers, even in its June 18 meeting. They
Hmm.
have said it. Like going forward, all AI should be accredited only, but they didn't want to make it an instant change.
Huh.
They wanted to gradually
Yes.
make that change.
It was phased effort if you see,
Right.
right? But I think a very good move, to be honest, a turning point, because now fund managers can choose the structure based on the investor profile and not just the regulatory arbitrage,
Very
which is
interesting.
great. So the way I would look at it, and no, you can add in, would be that AI only schemes or fund could be for those HNIs, uh, but not for ultra large investors.
Right.
Whereas the LVFs could be for deep pocketed investors who have the appetite to take greater risk, large risk exposures.
Absolutely. Absolutely true. I think that makes a lot of sense. AI only is now going to be what we'll see multiple HNIs and current base of investors also probably migrate into or they would be very interested in those products. LVS is going to see more premium or DFIs, multilateral financial institutions, the pension funds. They would
Yes.
like to come in that framework.
Yes, I think I think to probably conclude, right? We need to understand as to where do we stand in terms of reporting, disclosures, and compliance relaxations.
Right.
Because as it stands, as you know, LVFs have a lot of relaxations. Even with this recent circular, there are certain additional relaxations to LVFs.
Absolutely.
So, shouldn't those also may apply to an AI only fund? Is a
Yep.
question. I think
Very,
that is something only with time, we'll be able to probably understand when SEBI comes up with more clarifications
very,
on
very
those
true.
lines.
So that is great. Thank you so much for your time, Rohini, and for
Thank you, Parth.
joining
Thank you
us
for
in the
having me.
channel. If you have any other questions, you are confused about this, feel free to reach out to Rohini Nair at ANB Legal. And if you're setting up a fund or setting up an AI only fund or an LVF, you can reach out to her onshore, offshore, global fund structuring. She's a super expert in that. Any other questions, feel free to drop them in the comment box and stay connected. Thank you.
Thank you.